Yeah. So, okay, what do you think is the best approach for students to take if they disagree with their evolutionary teacher?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Um, I rarely find that any kind of like I'm just going to stick it to this fact,
Mm,
this faculty member, this teacher, right? I'm so convinced of my truth, and everybody else needs to hear it, right? So I am going to every time chance I get, I'm going to say something that's going to contradict something that the teacher is saying. That's sort of the view you get in some of these videos that have been put out by
mm,
some creationist organizations that you need to stand up and you need to like, oh, here's my data, you can't answer this, you can't answer this, you can't answer, well, what about this? And then always in those movies or videos, what happens is you see the teacher up front looking like, I wasn't expecting other questions, like I only knew the things I'm supposed to say, and they caught me off guard and I don't really have the answers to those things. And then all of a sudden everyone else in the class is like, wow, look at that, they don't really know that much and they can't really answer these questions, so maybe there are all other
mm.
viewpoints that I should be considering. I can tell you that that might happen in some classrooms somewhere, probably with an adjunct professor that's teaching the class for the first time. But it's not going to happen in my class. I mean, I've heard every single gotcha question, right? I've talked about them all. That's what a lot of my students don't realize when they do the anonymous question day, because they do ask some of those gotcha questions at that point, is that I know all those questions and I already have the
Oh, so
I
you're
have
Ken
the
Ham.
answers. Yes. I'm really nice about it, but I think they're always surprised. It's like, oh yeah, I give all, I just go into a big thing and I use their question to like explore a concept and demonstrate, the
Mm,
misconception behind the question. That's my big thing, is trying to identify
mm.
what is someone's misconception behind the question. But back to your question, because that was an important question. Like, how should students approach things? Um, students should, just like I think they'd approach most every topic that might be controversial. If you want to be heard, um, you need to be a good listener, right? It's just like a conversation. If you come into a conversation and you just think the other person is wrong, but you're unwilling to hear anything that they say, that conversation is probably not going to go well, right? It's going to go like most internet YouTube debates, right? There's just going to be a lot of talking over each other. And that can happen if you have a faculty member that's kind of, maybe they were willing to listen, but if you just attack them and they feel attacked, chances are that interaction is probably not going to go very well. So I think from a young earth creationist perspective, a young earth creationist is a Christian. And I think that they should take on characteristics of being a Christian. First of all, should be a good student, right? And that doesn't mean you have to be like an A student. It just means you have to be an attentive student. You have to actually maybe have talked to the faculty member about maybe other topics. So you're not just like, I never talked to you, I never came to class. Then you had this one lecture on this one topic that I care about. I came in and I made a big deal about it. That's, I would be able to deal with that. But I think there's a lot of faculty who wouldn't be able to deal with that, right? They would be like, who are you? You decided to come in this particular classroom, this particular
Mm.
day and this particular time. You obviously are on a mission and you just want your particular voice to be heard. And that wouldn't even be fair to the other students in the class if you
Mm.
co-opted all that time either. So I think what you need to do is you need to gain the respect of the faculty member. And if you have the respect of the faculty member as an intelligent student who knows how to think through things and obviously has done well understanding other material, and you simply don't agree with them on a particular topic, and you ask them questions about it, could you explain this to me, and let me tell you why I feel like um, you're wrong, or that you haven't maybe you haven't demonstrated your point very well, and I would just like a chance to be able to rebut that. I think most faculty would be willing to have that conversation with a student that seemed like they
Mm.
want to have a conversation. So that would be my big thing. It's the kind of the attitude of the student. And it's the same thing. I think faculty ought to have the right attitude towards students in accepting that they're not all going to have the same ideas when they come in the classroom, and they're come from different places and they have different concerns. And I don't know what all those concerns are, and I just need to be
Hmm.
sensitive to all of those. I know I'm sounding like kind of like a liberal pansy or something when I say it that way, but there's just general basic good manners and truth
Yeah.
to respecting each other.